Hi, I'm Eka Kapiotis from Blue Skies Wellness, and I'm really happy to be here on another Mindful Monday. So I'm going to be talking with you today about something that you might find a little strange at first, but I bet if you let yourself think about it a little bit, you're going to be surprised at how true it is. And as you're probably finding out by now, mindfulness does not mean, as I said last time, sitting in the lotus position and breathing, but it means really being present in your body. And so one way that we can do that is just by really noticing what we're thinking. And a lot of times we don't really think about what it is that we're thinking about. We just think it. And so I'm going to be talking about today animal communication. I'm an animal communicator. I'm also an animal tracker. Now you might think that that's really weird, or it takes somebody very special to do that. But I can tell you that if you have an animal, if you have a pet, you are also an animal communicator. And your pet is a human communicator. And so we're going to play around with that a little bit today. It's too close to dinner for me to give you an example. I like to try to use my dog as an example because she's already parked herself in the kitchen because I've been thinking about doing this. But what I'd like to say is just imagine there you are, watching TV, and you're all nice and relaxed, and all of a sudden you think, gee, I wonder if whatever your dog's name is, Odie or Lucy or anything, I wonder if she would like a biscuit. Well, do you think that you just had that random thought that just showed up? Or could it possibly be that your dog, communicated that with you? And because I have a dog, I'm going to be talking about dogs today, but it could happen with any sort of pet. What I began to notice over time is that animals are actually paying so much attention to us when they're our pets that they begin to read our mind. And reading your mind sounds a little woo, but let's just say that, well, look at it this way. Animals are dogs, birds, many animals operate in groups. Okay, so if there's a group of animals, like you've seen birds, and they're all flying along, and then all of a sudden they all switch, and they all switch. Well, there's something about that they share some state of consciousness that's all together. Just like animals, dogs, operate in packs, and so they have what they call pack mind. They don't sit there and go, Joe, when we get to that caribou, why don't you head off to the right and I'll head off to the left? No, they actually can operate in such a way that they're connected with each other's intentions and they know what each other are going to do. And the same thing can happen for us. And I'll tell you why I noticed this is because my dog is very food oriented. Like some dogs are more play oriented, some might be more walk oriented. So think about whatever it is that your pet loves better than anything in the world. And I bet that if you just sit there one time and you start to think about it, and you not only think about it, but you actually imagine doing it. You imagine it, you think about, like if it's going for a walk or going out to the car, you think, I think in a couple minutes I'm going to go get the leash and I'm going to walk to the door and I'll put her on the leash and then we'll head out the door. And I would not be surprised at all if when you start thinking that, you suddenly look down and there's your dog waiting for you. And, you might think that that's a little odd, but I try it out and practice, because the more you practice, the better you'll get. And so what I noticed was that when I started to think about putting Lucy's dinner together or what I was going to feed her, all of a sudden she would show up. And I make her dinner, and the other morning I was really thinking about, because I usually make a bunch of food at one time. So I was really thinking about, okay, I've got this in the refrigerator, I've got that in the freezer, and I can put it all together and make her food. And what happened was, in the morning when she would normally be in her bed, she went over to the kitchen and she sat there waiting between the kitchen and me, looking at me like, okay, when's it coming up? Because they do somehow connect in. And again, a great example of this is you think about someone and they call you. Or if you're like me and my husband, you pick up the phone and he's there, it doesn't even ring. Well, it would be like pick up the phone, right? And it doesn't even ring, there he is. And so this happens a lot, and it's not explainable by a statistical significance or things like that. We all know that this happens. And so I would like to invite you to play around with that. Try to imagine or notice what happens when, if you sit there and you think about whatever it is that your dog loves, or if it's a cat, whatever the cat loves. Oh, Lucy actually did just pop up and look at me. I didn't even realize she was out here with me. So she's, anyway, so try it out and see how it works. And you might practice it a few times, and maybe your dog doesn't. I mean, I am an animal communicator, and I've had a very hard time communicating with Lucy. It's a lot like the plumber's bathroom, right? Doesn't quite work right. So, but over time, what I noticed was, although I thought that I was having trouble communicating with her, she communicated in a very different way. And so once I figured out that, I was able to notice that. And then that's when I started to notice that she would just show up when I started having thoughts about food, which is her favorite thing of all. So I hope you have fun trying that. And until I see you again, I'm Eka Kapiotis of Blue Skies Wellness. I'd like to thank Jen Avery of Genspirations and the Royal Examiner for offering us this opportunity to share this. I hope you have a great day and have fun playing with this. Thanks. Bye now.